Hello, and welcome to another episode of Joe's Environmental Talk Show. Today we have our guest, Will the Beekeeper, discuss the importance of protecting the bees within our ecosystem.
Thank you for having me on the show today.
Thank you for being here. I'm excited to hear your stance on the current situation with the bees. It's really a tragedy to see such an impactful population decrease at a rapid rate. We brought Beekeeper Will on the show to help us learn more about the subject. If any of my fans have any questions, shoot me a DM on Twitter.
Well, what should we start with?
Well, some of my viewers think they are experts on the subject because they've seen the Bee Movie. Now, don't get me wrong, this is probably the most informative movie ever created, but there's a lot more we don't know about the subject.
Well, let's get started already. I have a meeting with Professor Mugg later today.
Okay. With the fear of bees becoming extinct, what do you think the main cause of the decline in population is?
Well, Joe, that's a great question. First, I would like to respond to this question by stating that pesticides, parasites, and other negative factors in the environment are declining the bee population and putting them on track for extinction. Now, with that being said, I believe that pesticides used by farmers have the largest impact on bees. Most farmers use these pesticides on their crops to help them economically while hurting the population of one of the most important pollinators.
So basically, if farmers changed their farming methods, bees would no longer be endangered?
I wish I could say it is that simple. Poor weather conditions due to the rise of global warming also negatively affect the lives of bees. So everyone is at fault in the endangerment of bees.
That's very interesting. I never knew that. Oh, I just got a question from one of my fans on Twitter. This is from Avocado Lover 68, and it says, "Why is the decline of bee population so important?" Will, do you care to comment?
Of course, bees play a major role, much more than what people see. One third of food consumed relies on the pollination of bees. This would affect a majority of our crops and plant life, as bees are just as important to us as water and sunlight. To put things gently, the extinction of bees would end humanity.
Wow, that's fantastic. You mentioned farmers using pesticides earlier. Could you explain further on that topic?
Yes, farmers are using pesticides for their own benefit without thinking of what they're doing to the environment. If there are any farmers listening right now, there are many other ways to make a profit without killing our pollinators, and you should stop.
So, what makes the decline of bees so important to farmers specifically? Why should they feel the most encouraged to change their farming techniques and educate themselves on the importance of bees?
As mentioned before, a third of food consumed relies on the pollination of bees. So, with that being said, everyone should be concerned on the bees' endangerment. However, the decline of bees will directly affect the life of farmers first, before the rest of the world, because it will take a toll on their crops. For example, most fruits and vegetables require pollination, and bees are extremely valuable when it comes to crops such as cotton and flax. They even play a role in other products such as beauty supplies and beeswax. Not only that, but 16% of flowering plant species are pollinated by bees. With all this being said, the value of honeybee pollination to U.S. agriculture is worth $14 billion. If this doesn't stress the importance to farmers, I don't know what will.
Very interesting and alarming information, Will. We received another question on Twitter from Mobamba asking what else would the extinction of bees harm other than the lives of farmers?
That is a very good question. As mentioned prior, the extinction of bees could end humanity. This has to do with the direct effect of bee decline having on humanity, plants, animals, topography, fossil fuels, and the food web.
Well, aren't there other methods of pollination?
Very good point, Joe. I am sure many others were wondering the same thing. Winds and butterflies also pollinate. However, it is at a much slower rate and just wouldn't be nearly efficient enough.
Well, for the sake of myself and I guess the rest of humanity, what solutions do you offer to save the bees that farmers can partake in?
Well, for starters, planting bee-friendly flowers and herbs in your garden or backyard provides great forage for the bees. We all need to halt the use of chemicals and pesticides to treat gardens and look into other options. Along with that, buying local raw honey that is not treated with chemicals can be extremely beneficial. Keeping fresh water outside of your home can provide nutrients to bees. Lastly, simple tasks like recycling and working to burn less fossil fuels can contribute to reducing global warming, which has a direct effect on bees.
So, really, there are simple tasks that can be done to save the bees. Nothing seems too complicated.
People just need to educate themselves on what they can do to contribute. It really isn't asking too much considering how important they are in our environment. There are many, many more things people can do to help, and even research that can be done for other solutions in the future. But I think my time here has been cut to an end.
Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you, Will, for educating us on how important it is to save the bees. That's a wrap for today's show. Tune in on tomorrow's podcast where we'll have a special speaker coming to discuss coral reefs. Until next time.